It's the Benz Brunani womanist. Baby boys, baby girls, you need to hear this. Sit down, receive this realness. Make sure your cup's ready for the tea. We are go sip it, yo. Hot time scrolling for your long shorts. You might learn something you never know. Kelechi fine, and she's one of a kind. Don't say you're mine, say you're mine.
There's a song that one of you sent me that I need to listen to 3LW properly again before I can do it justice. No, I'm not the one. Say it again. Oh, you sent me Kelechi remixes for my birthday. Thank you to everybody who sent me them and those who posted theirs online. I've been enjoying them. So yeah, I will listen to that song properly so I can get all of the words in properly. So this is a very quick episode because, I mean, last week was quick, wasn't it? Like 47 minutes because I was going through it. I was on the ropes. I hated the way that the world, continue to hate the world, the way that the world is going, but we're here. So it's me, Kelechi, in a place to be. And you are listening to SYM, officially known as Say Your Mind, unofficially known as What? That's right, Suck Your Mum. Back very, very quickly. Thank you for your gorgeous messages for last week's episode. Those of you who are like, you know, never written in before, but girl, I felt you. I felt how deeply hurt you were and are by the situation. Thank you all for just seeing me. For those who truly see me and don't move like pussy clarts and bitches with snide comments, I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me. I won't waste time because the main thing I wanted to say is obviously I'll be talking with Jamila Woods, who is an incredible singer-songwriter. And this interview we did quite a while ago, but with all of the things that were happening and with the way that life was lifing, I didn't get a chance to post it. But now that I'm making this episode on a Wednesday, I'm making this episode on a Wednesday because I'll be in Baltimore by the time this episode comes out. I didn't even take my retainers out, but you spent so long listening to me talking on this podcast with my retainers. Well, no, that's when I actually had the actual Invisaligns. I just kept my retainers in today. Anyway, getting into that, we'll get into that. How are you? I know that life is rough at the moment. I hope you're hanging in there and I'm sending you all of the love. So this, just going to read this letter out because I'm going to just choose a tarot letter, I think, off the cuff. So yeah, not doing the usual bits. No, that's 2 weeks in a row now. No share your magnificence per se or straw of the week or any of that. Just coming in, saying hi, doing a bit of tarot because I never want to leave out the tarot, you know, because I love it so much. Do a bit of tarot and interview with Jamila Woods and then out. Pardon me. So it says here, Dear Kelechi, I hope you and yours are doing very well. I just wanted to thank you for your delicious interviews. You are the best in the game, my goodness. I'm not going to argue with you on that. There's no debate. I, in fact, am because I know the meaning of professionalism. Thank you for taking care to research your guests well and engaging them meaningfully. I have learned so much just from listening to you talk to your guests. Each interview you have done has been so edifying. Thank you. Kind regards from your South African baby girl. Thank you. You sent that on the 30th of September. Look at you. Appreciate that. Yeah, I take interviewing people very, very seriously. I want to honor them. And I think that that's important to do, to have longevity in this realm. I love talking to people. I love learning about their lives. I love delving into things that they, you know, we wouldn't ordinarily talk about. And this is why I guess maybe I'm putting out this interview with Jamila now, because it was I've had some incredible interviews, yeah, but this has to be one of my favorites. I would say top 2, because it's so great to connect with somebody that's on a similar path to what you're on. And I needed to listen back to it to be like, rah, there are people who are on the same wavelength, on the same path as you, and you don't need to be distracted by those who are so far behind. It's beautiful. It's just beautiful. So thank you for that letter. In terms of tarot, who should we go with? There have been so many letters, and like I always say every week, I will get to you soon. Oh, this one just caught my eye. Let's see. From 17th of September. Oh, trigger warning, mention of pregnancy loss. Dear Kelechi, I hope you and your loved ones are well and continue to stay blessed. Thank you for everything that you do for me and this wonderful community you have built. You have truly helped me to stay grounded through a plethora of life events. My question for the tarot and spirit is, how do I start to live my life and stop merely surviving? To give some context, I'm a 29-year-old woman of Ghanaian/Nigerian heritage, the owner of a business and in a loving and happy relationship. I have a wonderful support system of friends and family, but I feel unable to relish in any happiness as I feel so unfulfilled, so deeply in my soul that every morning I wake up and I feel untethered to the life I live. I went through my school and university days being highly social and creative, living for music and art, and I always felt that I could go in any direction I wanted in my life. But the harsh realities of living in London as a student meant that I ended up working full-time through my university degree. After graduating, jobs became unavailable to me because I was unable to give free labour in the guise of an internship. Also, fuck all of you people that do unpaid internships. It will never be well with you. I couldn't work for little money and hope. I rose through the ranks eventually. I needed a job that would pay my rent and allow me to keep a roof over my head. With the added responsibility of looking after myself came the loss of inspiration and creativity. My white counterparts were able to stay at family assets around the city to help realize their dream careers. And I started to get left behind. My life therefore took a more practical turn. I followed jobs that required little skill and lots of personality and relatability. Something that came naturally to me suddenly felt performative, and my self-worth became intrinsically linked to my ability to get shit done, all with a smile and a can-do attitude. I've created a life for myself that is based on this I can fix that energy, and I now feel totally stuck. 10 years have flown by and I feel I haven't perfected any one skill due to an inability to take my eyes off the prize, survival. Within the past 2 years, I have also experienced 4 pregnancy losses. I am so sorry. With each, a part of my heart has been lost also. Excitement replaced with anxiousness. Hope replaced with pessimism, another layer of innocent naivety taken away from me. I have now resigned myself to the fact that motherhood most likely isn't something I will experience in this lifetime because the disappointment is just too much for my soul to bear. I have stopped living my life. I have taken to getting through each day, completing the mundane tasks that need to be done. I've stopped enjoying the small pleasures of my life because they are squeezed and packed in between work and necessity. How can I get to a place of softness? Do I want to start over, to strip everything back to the beginning and give it all another try? How can I rediscover? Oh, sorry, Sue's messaging me. How can I rediscover the joy that I once had? I appreciate you so much for taking the time to read this email. I've attached my birth chart below for your reference. Thank you so much. From a forlorn baby girl. Just wanted to see your 5th house. I'm not going to say anything. But yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Okay. 12th house, Scorpio. Wow, this is very, very busy chart. Have you considered like traveling more, like moving? It feels like I'm just hitting something there. It feels like to everybody, I'm like, just leave this place is advice that I should take for myself, clearly. But you're a Sagittarius rising, so that's why I'm saying that. And your first house is stacked. And with the North Node in the first house as well, it is. No, I'm going to take this out. It's pissing me off. For those who like ASMR, I'm just removing my retainers. They were really annoying me. How can I be talking like soft? I thought I could get through the episode, but it was actually pissing me off to hear it. Anyway, sorry. With North Node in the first house, and I have my North Node in the first house as well, not in the same sign as you, but also a fire sign. It's important to forge our way ahead and give ourselves lots of chances to try various things to figure out what it is that we want to do. Your duty is to learn as much as possible. Try lots of things, even languages, places. Like, you need to do it. You need to do it for your own growth. I think that what's happening to your energy is that your soul is basically sleeping. And it's starting to wake up, because for you to be able to send this message, your soul is waking up, right? But your soul has been sleeping for a while. You know what? Just for you, I'm going to grab this deck. You lot stay there. Not me almost about to drop off the couch or drop off the sofa as I reach for this. But for your tarot card, or for your tarot reading, I'm going to grab the Black Angel deck of cards, because when people are going through it, especially, I love this deck so much, I just feel like I don't use it willy-nilly anymore. I think there was a point where I was like, oh, I'm going to use it more regularly on the podcast, and then I just didn't. But for you, I felt to grab this Black Angel deck of cards because it speaks about when our soul is awake and when our soul is on the sleeping path. And I think that, so for you, we've got the Midwife and the Warrior, really? Is that what we've got? Okay. I think those are two cards for you. Let's see what it says, because there's always a reason that these things come out. See what it says for you as the Midwife and then the Warrior. Before I just start talking like I know all of the things, I'll just read to you what it actually says. For you, the Midwife. You are always present at the birthing of something created. Your welcoming energy as a midwife makes the rough arrival of ideas, projects, and life itself more bearable. You have the wisdom, courage, and caring nature needed during birthing times, and your loving attention is important in easing fear. Your close relationship with fear also makes you close to life and death, because they can be the things we fear most. You help us through our fear of moving forward with life. As midwife, you are the passage for bringing someone or something from one world to the next, or bringing life or projects from seed to creation or manifestation. As midwife, you are called on to help bring forth our creations, being part of our rites of passage, initiations, transitions from birth to life, and sometimes life to death. You are invited to join. You are well connected to what you help birth, and this connection can last for generations, assisting with the preservation of lineage, community, projects, organizations, and kinship. Your waking path is evident when you see newness or freshness around you in the form of thoughts, things, or people. As healer in the community, you carry us through to face what we need to face in the healing. You rally for us, whispering in our ear, keep going, continue the path no matter what. When it appears as though we will not make it, and that nothing seems to be changing in our lives, you, midwife, will come again to encourage the bringing forth of our creations. Your support as midwife is vital to our wellness and to sustaining the path of life. You help us from turning around and running away too soon. You are present with us until the work is done. The birthing process is a sacred ceremony, and you are there. Historically, special women were available to ensure the continued creation of children, birthing rituals, and birth sanctuary. An incarnation of midwives in our lives help us through our fear of moving forward with life. Since midwives are around when there is fear, people tend to expect more from you than you can give. You may find yourself trying to give them more than you have. This situation could lead to your feeling unappreciated for what you give, and others feeling shortchanged by your inability to ease them of their misery. The sleeping path may emerge at this point. On the sleeping path, you too can be paralyzed by the fear of creation. In this fear, you might not feel capable. You might latch on to some notion that you are really unskilled in the birthing process, that you can't help others. You might be fearful of the thought that you too have the ability to be a creator, not just someone who helps others create. This paralyzing fear then closes off your life possibilities in your mind. As a midwife, you might want to embrace the fear as evidence of gifts coming into your life. These are the gifts you ask for. Bringing forth others' creation is fine as long as you are aware of your own gifts. Know that birthing or creating is tightly woven together with fear. In your healing, step fully into the fear and wait for the gifts that abound. I love the way that Zenju Earthlyn Manuel writes that. Before I move on to the next card, I consider myself, and I was actually saying to the people I was doing some readings for earlier on today, because it's a Wednesday, when I was reading for them, I said that because of my Scorpio stellium, my Venus in Scorpio, my moon in Scorpio, I often find that people gravitate towards me or become fixated or obsessed with me, even if they talk about me in a disparaging way. They become obsessed with me when something is dying in their lives and something is being birthed. So in me, whether they realize it consciously or not, they see somebody that is demonstrating to them what it means to let something go and let something new be reborn. I'm like a doula of people in terms of their personalities or the next stage of their life. And sometimes, and I think I've said this on the podcast before, when people are not ready for that change, they project onto me all of their fears and their resentments and their disgust, their shame. They try to project it onto me because they don't know how to hold it in themselves or to release it for themselves. So they might do something, and if there's somebody that's in relatively close proximity to me, my reaction to what they've done usually shakes loose whatever it is that they're struggling with. But with other people, they merely just like watch me, and I guess it happens. So I say that to you because as I was reading that, it's important to understand that fear, we all feel fear. Danger is not something that we're imagining. The danger is very, very real. We see what's happening to various people around the world. Danger is real. Our choice of fear as we experience the danger, that's up to us. And that's not to say that, oh, well, don't fear anything and da-da-da-da-da. I understand why we fear things. I understand why we fear change. I understand why we fear loss. I understand why we fear love. I understand why we fear to be seen. These are all fears that I too hold. But at some point we have to look the fear in the face and go, what's the worst that could happen? What is the worst that could happen? Because usually when you really break it all the way down, the worst that could happen is that you die. Okay. All right then. We go again. If that's really it, we go again, or we don't. Like, whichever way you slice it, everything will be okay in the end. So just do the thing that you keep putting off. This one, baby girl, that you've spent your life doing and performing the practical things that you feel like you need to do in order to ensure your survival. But look at your life now. So you did all of that to feel empty inside. You did all of that to wake up every freaking day and not be even excited that you're alive. What is then the point? I might as well be broke and excited. Like, I might as well, or let me be broke and then, still feel empty inside. But don't tell me that, okay, well, as long as I've got a roof over my head. Look, if I'm honest with you, even the relationship with your partner, as much as you said that you love your partner and that, it's a happy relationship, how happy can it be when you are not connected to yourself? Could there be more happiness to enjoy in that relationship if you were to connect with self and with the purpose of pleasure? Because we always talk about fulfilling a purpose or whatever, but maybe we are our purpose. Maybe we are the purpose. Us experiencing joy and pleasure, that is the purpose. We are the purpose, not some external thing that we're meant to do. Or maybe it's a culmination of the things we're meant to do and the people we grow to be. So the warrior here says, Your soul is as a spiritual warrior. You work at integrating body, mind, and spirit, as you need the congruency between what you feel, think, and do. Your focus and attention are usually on what is good for you, as you know this is best. You experience spirit through your physical life. Spirit is not out there somewhere for you. Exactly. So you need to attend to and accomplish many physical manifestations. You have great presence, and some may bend towards you because of it or bend away from your force. Ooh. You live by the camaraderie codes of integrity and loyalty. Ooh. Friends are important to you, and you look for them to join you in life. You are of the warrior soul clan that needs balance between the various aspects of your life. You are aware and enjoy the many facets of yourself. In fact, you have a strong ability to bring forth the necessary inner qualities needed for every situation in your life. You have been initiated by your past struggles, which have prepared you for whatever may come your way. Your gaze is still and sure. You are a warrior for your own soul. On the waking path, you are attuned to yourself when your life is in turmoil. When a warrior enters the sleeping path, the attunement dwindles. You may not be aware of your actions when circumstances overwhelm you. It becomes difficult to access the concentration of your various personas. In this state, your camaraderie with others can become distorted, and you are manipulated into doing battles for others while neglecting your own life. The internal fragmentation can cause you to move from job to job or relationship to relationship, feeling dissatisfied and disappointed. Confusion arises and sets in, keeping you from making needed changes in your life. In fragmentation, you may take on wearing various masks to survive. If you stay on the sleeping path, it becomes difficult to call on your concentrated warrior self. You may find your energy going towards battling different parts of yourself. This battle becomes an internal struggle between mind, body, and spirit. You may have a feeling of being dishonest or pretending to be who you are not. That reminds me of I Drink Wine by Adele, for those who need that as a music message. To bring back harmony, tranquility, and protection, embrace the unacceptable aspects of who you are along with the acceptable ones. This does not mean necessarily that you love what's unacceptable, but rather that you attend to your whole life and your whole self. In essence, bringing the warrior forward is to bring a strength that is built on your whole being, all of who you are. Watch your habits of caretaking and putting yourself in positions in which you can be manipulated to care for someone who is very capable of taking care of their own life. Stagnation is deadly to you. Lift the veil and take a look at all the relationships in which there is no movement. Find creative ways to move stale and smelly waters. Warrior, you have fought many battles for everyone and attended to their woes. Now it's time for you to do the same for yourself. Bring your life home, shelter it, stay in your life, and be prepared for your own storms that are sure to come. And the thing is, you've had the storms, because I'm really sorry, for you mention, when you mentioned about the pregnancy losses, you've had your own storms. It's time to live. Don't worry about, I didn't even use my words. These are the cards I was meant to use clearly. I would say don't worry about pregnancy. I didn't even show you all the cards. The warrior looks like this. You can see it from here. Many masks, many faces. And then the midwife looks like this. She's like in like a squatting position, a wide-legged squatting position. Don't worry about the pregnancy. What you need to not don't worry about the pregnancies, like, oh, don't worry about them, because of course they're devastating. Like, you've had 4. I had 1 pregnancy loss and I didn't know how I was going to get off the ground, so I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that there is a you that needs to be birthed before going back to, if you decide to go back to thinking about birthing another human being. There is a you with that North Node in Sagittarius in your first house. There is a you that is desperate to be birthed, and it's going to be a painful process, but it needs to happen. Looking at how life has currently been and how it's not serving you. You've got your North Node in the 5th house of children, fun, flirtation. You're being asked to just take life a little less seriously. In fact, a lot less seriously. You need to prioritize the child in you giving birth to that child, like letting that child come forth in the world. You've done everything practical, what you felt that you needed to do. And you know those parents that because of everything that they've done, you decide one time that you don't want to do something for them, and they're like, after everything I've given you, after how I suffered for you, after I had to have how many jobs for you to be here and rare. That's literally what you are doing to yourself in your own life. Anytime you get a little kind of, ooh, I should be doing something else, then your mind kicks in, because it's your mind, not your body. Your mind kicks in, and your mind is like, oh, after everything we've been through to get here, you now want to throw it away because, ooh, you want to be creative. Ooh, you want to do things. Exactly that is what I want to do. There are no step-by-steps that I can give you. All I know is that you might need to go back to study something, Sagittarius first house. You might need to go back and study something in order to do the thing that you want to do, and then cut down on the work that you're doing, right? Like the amount of hours that you're working. Like, you have to come back home to yourself. For so long you have wandered out there, trying on everybody else's personas, everybody else's personalities to see if it fits. You have to come back home to you now and make the decisions that serve you best. So I pray that resonates with you. I'm sending you lots of love. For those who want to book a 1-question tarot reading, you can go onto my website, KelechiOkafor.com/shop, and you can buy a 1-question tarot reading. I now offer express 1-question tarot readings where I get the result, where I get your answer to you within 24 hours. And if you book just the standard 1-question tarot reading, I get your answers to you, within 7 days. Or you can book a 1-to-1 tarot reading if I ever have it available, which is unlikely because I'm like very busy. Or you can join Straw Society on Patreon, which is £33 a month, and I will send you your weeks or your month ahead reading. So whenever I send it to you in a month, it carries on for a month, that reading. Or you can join, the Straw Flingers, I believe they're called, on Patreon, which is £8 a month. And I post weekly meditations, tarot meditations on there as well. So, yeah, I pray that resonates with you, and I'm sending you all of the love, baby girl. So now let me big up this week's show sponsors, who are Dipsy. Let's get it on in public. Just let it go. I promise that you'll love it. Oh, wait. No, I'm going to talk about that later. Very, very quickly. I can't forget that I need to mention that because that's wild. It's about the Kardashians. Anyway, for those who are, too scared, even if they wanted to ever do anything in public, sexuale, then there are ways to go about it. Like, you could be listening to an erotic story through your headphones in public and just getting your life and giggling away and feeling all the sensations in your body. Wow, that rhymed. That rhymed. Anyway, why am I saying this? Because Dipsy is an app full of hundreds of short, sexy audio stories designed by women for women. They bring scenarios to life with immersive soundscapes, and they're radically inclusive because Dipsy has stories for straight and queer listeners, and 56% of their stories are voice acted by people of color. You can get new content that's released every week. So in between listening to your favorite sexy audio stories again and again, you can always try something new because they've always got a new story here and there. I do need to go back and go through the list. There are like things that I've saved as my favorites in the stories, but I'll go through and see which new ones have also come through, because I just kind of tick what I want to hear, because you have like like a filter, so you can use the filter to select like the kind of thing that you're looking to listen to, and then you'll be shown a list of those things, or the things that the stories that align with that. You get what I'm saying. Anyway, they also have soothing sleep stories, wellness sessions, and sexy written stories, so you can read those. Let Dipsy be your go-to place to spice up your me time, so you can explore your fantasies, relax and unwind, or even heat things up with a partner or partners. So for listeners of the show, Dipsy is offering an extended 30-day free trial when you go to dipsystories.com/straws. That's 30 days of full access for free when you go to DIPSEA stories.com/straws. So that's dipsystories.com/straws. Go and get yourself involved with all of the sexiness. Thank you, Dipsy. Anyway, what I was going to say is that for those of you who've been watching the House of Kardashian documentary or whatever that thing is, my voice is there, right? My voice is there. So if my voice is there, certain people need to respond to emails and respond to emails imminently. Yeah. But aside from that, I don't want to talk for too long. I will now let you listen to my interview, my chat with Jamila Woods, because her voice is phenomenal. If you haven't listened to her songs on whichever platform you use to listen to your stories, I would greatly advise that you do. She's gorgeous. Did I say gorgeous? But she is. She's not even just gorgeous. She's gorgeous. And I love that we're woo-woo baby girls together. Like, I love her so much. I just think she's wonderful, and her songs really, really speak to me. So, yeah. She's a Chicago-based American singer, songwriter, and poet. She's well-read. Like, she studied the things. Like, she's super smart, super cute, her body tea. Like, I could just go on, but I just feel like you need to experience the things. I don't want to give away why we vibe so hard, but all I'll say is Libra gang. Libra gang, you nuts. The cute Libras, though. Not the bitchy Libras. The cute Libras. Anyway, yeah, enjoy our conversation. 2 slaps on your chest, Jamila. Jamila, where will be fine. Don't test me. I'm coming for Jamila's bag.
Come through. Vocals.
No. Welcome and thank you for joining me on the show, Jamila Woods. Like, your voice, it's ethereal. I feel like if people are looking for words, like synonyms, let them know I've let them have that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
No, seriously, like your body of work is just beautiful. Gosh, it's just so beautiful and so intentional. You know, when we're looking at Frida, Zora, James Baldwin, like so much history is kind of interwoven into your artistry. And you've been out here for a minute, like you've been doing the work community wise, as well as like musically and poetry, like you've been here for a minute. So was that just part of your upbringing? Like, this is just what you've known, like that your canon of reading everything from the get has just been this?
Well, I think I was lucky to have a lot of education that happened outside of school. When I was in high school, I got into this poetry program, and my mentors there were some of the people that first introduced me to like Gwendolyn Brooks or Nikki Giovanni or Sonia Sanchez. You know, unfortunately, I didn't learn about them in school. But then when I got to college, I majored in Africana studies, and I think that really was like really opened my eyes to a whole canon, you know, the canon that of Black artists of color who, you know, I wasn't introduced to earlier. And that's, I think, part of the spirit of that Legacy album was that education or learning about, you know, these I guess people in my lineage. It doesn't feel as so dry. Like so much of my education in school just felt uninteresting. And I think something that hip hop, you know, the tradition is like learning just through oral, through hearing, you know, I heard my mom mention this name, or, you know, this is someone who's my teachers always talk about. And so I like that I think the album kind of operates in that way, where if you don't know a name, you might look them up and you might discover something interesting.
I think so, because it's really educational in that regard. And you mentioned people that we greatly revere, like Nikki Giovanni, and even her conversation with, you know, James Baldwin. When I think about that, and she's like, why lie to me, like pretend to me, why do I have to get the real side, come and pretend to me the way you smile up in everybody else's face.
Exactly.
And these are necessary conversations, because it's like we have to have we have to have that discourse. And I think about Bell Hooks saying that, you know, she moved away from just talking about racism and started talking about white supremacist heteropatriarchy, because she's like, that remains with us even when white people are not in the room. So let's have that conversation. And rarely do we as Black people want to face each other, confront each other with love and have those conversations, because it means that we are going to have to interrogate all the crevices within us where that conditioning still can reside. And it's only helping each other that we can kind of like pick the threads apart and free ourselves. That's why I guess it says nobody's free unless we're all free. Water Made Us is your upcoming album. Very exciting. And again, you're giving the girls the things, because Toni Morrison said, like, well, all water has a perfect memory, and it's always trying to find its way back to where it came from.
Yes, to the source. Exactly.
And then you gave us Sula, like, and that's one of my favorite books as well. Like, in terms of just, it's rich. And did you go to a HBCU?
No, I didn't.
So then Africana Studies, it happened just at another kind of just...
Yes, a PWI, I think, predominantly white institution. Yeah,
really?
Brown University. Yeah. And it was amazing how I really just took a class about hip hop my freshman year, and I just kept wanting to take classes with that professor, Trisha Rose. And eventually I realized, hey, I'm almost majoring in this. I have so many classes in this. And they really talked about it as like the grammar of human life, you know, not just Black studies, but like if you understand the histories of like the most oppressed peoples, you're going to understand all of history. And so, yeah, but that really definitely gives me a lens. I think that how I approach my work in that way.
And so then when you go around the world with having Africana Studies, and just clearly I'm so enthralled by your interest as it's conveyed through your artistry, right? Because I'll look at something and I'll be like, yeah, I recognize that, and I recognize it from here and there. And as you say, the people who don't, hopefully they go and look it up. But how has your journeying been around, you know, meeting and relating to the diaspora as you've traveled around?
That's a great question. I think, you know, it's been a while. This is my first time back in Europe, you know, since the pandemic. But I remember touring Legacy in Europe, and I just love the feeling of like you could be in Iowa, you could be in Brighton. Like if you see there's a few Black people in the room who've come to see, you know, me perform. It's just this connection that we have. And I know that I think it's been especially the past couple albums that I've done where I have, you know, specific songs like explicitly talking about, you know, Black women, uplifting Black women, or just, you know, and I think that it always feels very special to perform to Black people and to kind of center them in that performance. Because I know I always like, when I was touring Heaven, I would always be like, I'm singing this song, Black Girl Soldier. Can we all just like take a minute to celebrate all the Black women in the room? And like moments like that, it's crazy how the feeling feels familiar, even if I'm, you know, not in the States, because it's a special experience, singular experience, I think. And there's definitely nuances that I think I'm always interested to discover when I have conversations with people after shows and things like that.
No, that's really great, because that's what I think I enjoy most about, you know, doing things, taking the podcast, whatever, you know, like going around, and it's hearing how people have related to what you've done. You make your thing, and then you see somebody else's, or you hear about somebody else's interpretation of it, and you're like, Rob, didn't consider that. And that is also valid. Thank you, because it makes the work richer. And so, yeah, you've written, you've performed, you've done so many different things. We talk about going back to source.
Yeah.
And I find as somebody that's so interested in that, like remembering, I talk about it, I've talked about it since I've got back from Peru, but I recently went on an ayahuasca retreat, and one of the visions that I saw, one of the messages was just like, everybody makes it back home in the end. And it brought me such peace at the time, but obviously you've got to integrate the lessons that you learn when you come back home. And so sometimes when I get worried or stressed, I have to remind myself that we all will make it back home in the end. So when I read this about when I started reading up about your body of work that's coming up, I was like, yeah, because we are trying to find our way back, but that doesn't mean it's not lonely. So how do you deal with the loneliness of very much being this soul, having this human experience, expressing yourself creatively, knowing that one day you're headed back to source, but very much still having to have this experience if that is going to happen?
That's such a beautiful question, such a beautiful message that you received. I love that, that Toni Morrison quote, because it has so many different meanings to me. But there's actually a song on the album that's coming out next week called Good News, and that's the song that the title Water Made Us comes from. And it's saying like, good news, we were happy once. Good news, water always flows back where it came from. Good news, water made us. And it's really just talking about that idea that even the moment we're separated from source, when we're born, like we are whole and complete and content in our being at that moment. And there's so many lessons that I've received over the past few years in terms of just surrender, and how it is an active choice to kind of release control, or release thinking that I can control things, and the ego in that. But once I practice that more and more, I see that like things do work themselves out, or like we do like I do trend back towards a state of contentment and
Yes.
knowing my wholeness. And I do really think embodiment practices, or just, in terms of like, how do I deal with the loneliness of that, which, can be very daunting at times, but trying to build a home in my body, or a relationship to my body that feels like one where I can always feel at home no matter where I am or what's happening. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. I mean, I knew that I would, because you're 6th of October, I'm 5th of October, Libra gang. So I was just like, I can't wait to talk to my Libra sis. Let's go.
I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot. Yeah, that's beautiful. I did not know that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, I think it's just beautiful. I don't know what, I could look it up, but your astrological placements, as in from that day, just purely from 6th of October in your year of birth, because I'm a few years ahead. And I'm just interested in it because there is that kind of Libra sun sort of expression of wanting justice and using art to move through it, because we're Venus ruled. So, and it's funny because people talk about Venus, like Venus won't snatch your wig off. Like Venus also goes to war,
Venus just snatched all of our wigs for the past
for
few
the
weeks.
retrograde.
Yeah.
She was like, oh, this is what I'm going to do in Leo. I'm going to deal with all of you. But looking at that, like that Venusian quality, people just think about beauty. They think about these things, whereas actually Venus will also fight, and being Venus ruled, it's like we seem to choose a mode of expression that allows us to express beauty and be, creative in this way. But the message seems like it always has to be justice. It has to be.
Yeah, I think I really like that. I've never thought of it in those terms, but that makes so much sense. I also think some reframe that I've learned about Libra recently is, like I think with every sign there's like the stereotypical thing and then the deeper, but like I was like, oh yeah, I am really indecisive. Like I do struggle with making decisions, but it's that Libra is such a relational sign, and same with Venus. Like it's all about how we connect and how we relate. So when making a decision, I'm always thinking not only how it affects me, but how does it affect them, and people pleasing and all that stuff. And I think like that's maybe part of like a self justice, or like a self fairness to yourself, is to allow yourself to be in a space where you can center yourself, not in a selfish way, but in a way where you can actually practice discernment that's led from yourself. And so I think that's definitely been something that's been central on my this most recent album, in terms of love and connecting, and not doing it from like a caretaking place, or like, but from really a place that's guided from myself.
Definitely, I relate to that so hard. I was saying on the podcast a while ago that whole thing that people say about Libras being indecisive, because like you say, the indecisiveness that they're talking about is that I need to know every outcome of this to know that it's fair to me and it's fair to all. So I want to check that, but also our signs aren't necessarily what we are currently expressing. It is the goal, because it's the sun. So it's the self, it's the ego, it's the thing that we are working towards. So we are working towards balance. We are working towards an equilibrium of relational sort of integrity. We are on that journey, same way Aries is on a journey of like, you want to pioneer, but first you have to build that fire up, and are you going to see it through, all of those things. So once I started looking at it like that, and so I'm an Aries rising, so Venus, Libra is my 7th house, so I'm all about relating, but so much so that I do lose myself in others, wanting to, like you say, caretake and make sure everybody's okay. And so this past 18 months, I would say, has been about coming back to me. Like, what do I need? Do I know what I need outside of worrying about what other people need? And do I feel guilty about that? So that's why Tides as a song actually got me, because it was just like that idea of like, I'm the droplet, but I'm also part of this ocean. That it has to be a balance.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so beautiful. I don't know something's going on with my 7th house too. I can't explain it, but I do the exact same thing. And I actually had an astrologer read my life one time, because she was like, what are you looking for in a relationship? And I said, intimacy. And she was like, like, what is that? What do you mean by that? Because if you're always kind of in a caretaking role, if you kind of like source value from like how you can care for others, it's almost like you're creating a parent-child dynamic. And like a parent doesn't go around, telling all their, crying and like putting all, sharing so much with their kid. It's like it's kind of an imbalance. And so if you actually want intimacy, you have to find a way to like bring yourself on equal level and be vulnerable. Yeah, exactly.
That's absolutely mean, because, and I was talking with a friend the other day about it, just, when we've gotten to this point that we can be honest about the things that we are doing, because I feel like that's one of the things that I so deeply desire in my friendships, in my relational dynamics, that sense of intimacy. But to reach that point of intimacy, you have to let people know you, and so therefore we can't be in a caretaking role, because actually, and I've got a Scorpio stellium, so my Scorpio placements mean that how I love is that I feel like I need to control the thing, like, so if we're caretaking, we're also controlling the dynamic, because I have to look after you.
Yeah, that's right. Are you Venus in Scorpio?
Oh, girl!
Me too.
Yes.
Yeah.
The moment you said, you said to her intimacy, to the astrologer, and they were like, I said, nah, that's Venus in Scorpio. That's Venus. That was like, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh my God. That's wild.
So I feel like we definitely go through a lot as like Venus and Scorpio Libra suns, because we present all of this like just the grace and social skills and creativity, whatever the case may be, but there is a deep visceral yearning for a deep connection that goes beyond this realm. I want to be able to rely on you in this lifetime and the next. Like, if I buck you up in the next lifetime, if that's the case, I want to know that we're still codes, like ODs, like we're still chargies. I need to know that.
I love it. So true.
But now I see why I was just vibing with all the albums. I was like, Jamila gets me. What is this?
I'm so excited for you to hear the next one too. Yeah.
No, it's gonna be amazing. It's going to be amazing. Like, you're phenomenal. So thank you. I really appreciate this. So next week, well, by the time this comes out, so it'll be out. Aiming to have this out, so it'll be out, and everybody can, you know, stream it. But I also see that on your website we can get CDs. I miss CD days, so I'm glad that this is also possible to pre-order, like the CD, the vinyl, that sort of thing.
Yeah, you can pre-order the CD, the vinyl, the cassette tape, whatever method of listening you prefer. Yeah, those will be out by the end of October. The album will be out October 13th, and
Beautiful.
the next single comes out September 13th. So
beautiful, because I love that you missed Mercury retrograde. You were just like, no.
That's a whole other thing, because I consulted with my friend Kenya, who's also a musician, but her favorite type of astrology is transits and helping people decide when to release things. And we were, you know, I was supposed to finish this album maybe a year or more ago. So there were so many dates and so many great days where she was like, oh, this one will be great, this one will be great. Ultimately, the label was like, girl, you gonna put this album out, here's 2 options. And then Kenya was like, okay, so like there's a huge eclipse happening on the 13th. And other artists, she said, I think it was like D'Angelo, Voodoo, Kendrick Lamar, Pimp a Butterfly. She's like, people have put out albums on the same eclipse, and they've been kind of life-changing albums. And she's like, you might not feel great on that day, but just know that, like, yeah, your promo cycle's happening during a retrograde, you know? So, like, there's all these things that might seem difficult, but just to not get bogged down in them. So I'm really happy that I had that insight, because it's
so
definitely been
right?
helpful. Yeah.
But it's funny when we're doing all of our stuff, our self-proclaimed woo-woo stuff, and going, oh, this and that, and then, like, I'm speaking to my publishers. So when we initially wanted to announce that I got the book deal, they wanted to announce on a particular day, and it's like, that's a Mercury retrograde, so we can't really do that. But if we're gonna have to do a day during Mercury retrograde, it has to be this particular day and only this day. Yes. Yes. So I say it has to be this one, and they're like, yeah, sure, we saw it. Let me tell you, the way that internet link, that Amazon link, did not work on the day.
Oh no. I mean, yeah. See, when we try too hard to control stuff, the universe has to be like, no.
Back up. So now it's just the general vibe, you know, keeping it cute, just the general vibe. But I think it is so good for us to know, especially when it comes to transits, and we're going to have so many eclipses hitting our sun, you know, in Libra over the next few months. So I totally agree with your friend that it's like, yeah, it's when you have the eclipse, when, like, the examples that she gave, they're phenomenal, because the piece of work then belongs to the people, you know, like Voodoo, the Pimp a Butterfly, it then belongs to people, because it's about possession ultimately. So then it belongs to the people, and you have to let them have it, but we are going to get dragged. That's fine.
Yeah,
it's fine.
It's fine. I love knowing what's coming. I don't know what that is in me, but something about, as long as I can mentally prepare, I can go through a lot. So
that's our Venus.
Now that I know.
But no, thank you so much. This has been like the best combo. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And there you have it. 6th of October, I'm 5th of October. Baby girls, with our Scorpio placements. You're actually nuts. You're actually wild. Libra suns with Scorpio placements, we have been going through it. But because we go through it, we are able to deliver. We are able to deliver on the type of art, on the type of creativity that speaks to the deeper parts of people. Because let me tell you, her new album is a madness. But that song Tides, you know, in the EdgeOfHere playlist, I put that song Tides in there as well. Is so beautiful. And that whole thing from Toni Morrison about all water having a perfect memory, and it's just always trying to get back to where it was, it speaks to me so deeply. For those who don't understand spirituality and can just bang on about holy books, and they think that that's where their job ends rather than really interrogating their lives, when it comes down to it, spirituality, the idea that when we look at even tarot cards and astrological signs, water is what depicts emotion and memory, right? And we are always moving back there. And so I've created, I talked about putting together a way to document Black people going missing and their bodies being found by bodies of water. I decided to name it Asking the Tides, just because of this, because all water has a perfect memory. The water sees all. The water knows. So, we're always trying to get back to where we began, where we are, where we started. And I think that that's what my journey has been, not knowing who I am, but delving deeper into the breadth, into the depth of who I am, the universe that's within me. It's so fascinating. It's a wonder to behold. I am a wonder, like a wonder unto myself, and other people are wonders to me. That's why when you say somebody's wonderful, they are full of wonder. And the more that I grow in my spiritual practice, I just look at things that other people might find mundane, and I just find I'm fascinated. And so, Jamila, thank you for being just an incredible guest. I'm enamored by you. I just, when you meet another, it's like you meet a soul sister, you meet another spirit, and you're like, oh, I recognize you. This is so exciting. This is so exciting. And that's what it felt like. It felt like meeting somebody that I'd forgotten, remembering and meeting someone again that I'd forgotten. And many times in our lives, we will have that experience. I hope we do anyway. Some of you'll be meeting people that you met in hell because you have demonic tendencies. But others of us will be meeting those that we left in a nicer spiritual plane. So that is that for this week's episode. I don't want to talk for too long. And like I said, check out Jamila's music. Check out her albums on wherever you listen to your music, Jamila Woods. We'll put some links in the show notes as well, because if you notice, the show notes have been looking extra spicy lately. That's because Annie took it off my hands and she was like, you will not run your podcast into the ground by not putting proper show notes. So I will do it. All said in an Australian accent. And obviously Jonathan is doing the bits, he's doing the things with the YouTube. So if you're seeing this and it's looking cute, you know why, because Jonathan is our baby boy. And I guess, that's it. I told you that I've got a book coming out, a children's book, a picture book called Strong Like Me. You can pre-order it. It's in the show notes. Of course, please keep reading EdgeOfHere, getting it to where it needs to get to. That's also greatly appreciated. And I'll just keep being me, Kelechi, the baby girl in the place to be. And you have been listening to SYM, officially known as Say Your Mind, unofficially known as What? That's right. Rishi Sunak, Keir Starmer, and all of the people them that keep supporting genocide. Suck your mum. Peace.
It's the Benz Brunani womanist, baby boys, baby girls, you need to hear this. Sit down, receive this realness. Make sure your cup's ready for the tea, we are go sip it, yo. Hard time scrolling for your long shorts. You might learn something you never know. Kelechi fine, and she's one of a kind. Don't say your mind, say your mind.